our mission today is to really sort of get under the skin of the world described here.
Yeah.
We're not just looking at what happens, obviously, but, why and what it really tells us about this, this deeply unsettling society.
Exactly. We want to explore both the really obvious control, the overt stuff, but also the subtle things, the almost invisible mechanisms holding it all together.
Right.
It's about trying to understand that whole complex web that makes Gilead. Gilead.
Okay, so let's start where the narrator starts. She's sleeping in this old gymnasium, and you get this incredibly vivid picture, don't you? The past life of the place. The varnished floor with the game line still there.
Yeah, the basketball hoops are still up, but the nets are gone.
Right. And even the smells like, she mentioned sweat, chewing gum, perfume.
Yeah.
Lingering ghosts almost.
And those dances, the music, the decorations she remembers, it's such a strong contrast to where she is now. A world that just isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
And that repurposing, it's really striking right away. A place that was all about community, freedom, youthful energy is now just confinement. And that shift, it's not just practical. It feels really deliberate, like they're actively erasing the past where people had, autonomy, control over memory.
And the room itself, she describes it in such stark terms. There's a framed watercolor, blue irises, flowers are still allowed, which is odd.
It is odd, a weird little detail.
But it makes you wonder, right, is it the same print in every single room? The same chair, the same curtains?
Issue.
It feels like it, like state-issued furniture designed to just strip away anything personal.
That uniformity, it's such a key part of the control, isn't it? Eliminate individuality, make everyone the same. It stops people thinking for themselves, expressing themselves. And that detail, flowers are still allowed. Wow. Maybe it's just like a surface thing to make it look a bit normal, but underneath, the sameness just screams control.
Right.
And then Aunt Lydia's comment, think of it as being in the army. That just frames it immediately, doesn't it? Obedience, no personal freedom.
Yeah. And the bed itself.
Yeah.
Single, hard mattress, white spread. And that rule. Wow. Nothing happens there but sleep. Or, not sleeping. Even thinking is rationed. Yeah. Because it could be dangerous.
Yeah.
And then that detail about the picture having no glass and the window being shatterproof, only opening a crack.
So chilling.
It's not about stopping them running away, she says. It's about stopping those internal escapes.
Yeah.
The ones needing a cutting edge.
The bed becomes this focal point for control, both physical and mental, and rationing thought that really tells you how oppressive it is. Even your inner life isn't safe. And the window, the picture frame, it shows how scared they are of individual agency, doesn't it? That people might find ways to, reclaim themselves, even through self-destruction.
So she leaves the room, and the door doesn't even lock.
Yeah.
Doesn't shut properly.
Not all prazzy. No security.
And the hallway has this dusty pink runner. Polish, she says, but dusty. And she describes it like a path through a forest or a royal carpet. Such a weird contrast.
It is a weird contrast. That paradox, no lock, but this maybe faded, regal-looking runner, it's unsettling. Maybe it's psychological, a way to give a false sense of order, maybe, keep them managed.
Could be. And the house itself, late Victorian, it used to be a family home.
Right.
There's a grandfather clock just ticking away. And this front sitting room that she calls motherly, but it's only used for standing or kneeling.
That repurposing of a family home is huge, isn't it? It takes something meant for warmth, connection, and twists it into a place of control, ritual.
Yeah.
The clock is just this relentless reminder of time passing, but they have zero control over that time.
And there's that little detail to the fan light over the front door with colored glass, red and blue flowers. Little bits of the past still there.
Fleeting reminders, yeah. Almost subversive, those bits of color. Reminders of a world where beauty wasn't controlled.
Then the mirror in the hall. Round, convex. She says it turns her into a parody.
Yeah.
A fairy tale figure in a red cloak, heading towards danger. And that phrase, a sister dipped in blood. Just, wow. What's going on there?
That mirror is such a potent symbol, isn't it, of her fractured identity, the identity that's been forced on her. She doesn't see herself. She sees her function.
The red cloak.
Exactly. Marked by her role, the fairy tale image, the blood. It highlights how mythical but also terrifying her existence is, like she's trapped in some grim story.
Even the little things, like the hat and umbrella stand. Bentwood, fern hooks. But then the umbrella's black for the commander.
Blue for the wife.
And red for her, which she leaves behind because it's sunny. It's small, but it just screams hierarchy.
Absolutely. Everything means something, reflects that rigid social order. The colors aren't just colors, they're status, function, part of the caste system.
Right down to umbrellas.
Right. And her noticing all this shows how she's constantly observing, trying to figure out the power dynamics around her.
Then she has this quick chat with another woman. We've been sent good weather.
Standard reading almost.
And then this news drops about rebels being defeated, Baptists in the hills smoked out, and the required response is just.
Praise be.
Yeah. And you really feel the narrator's conflict. She wants peace, sure, but she's also desperate for any news. Even if it's fake news, that hunger for information is so strong.
That exchange really shows the enforced conformity, doesn't it? The language, the beliefs, it's all controlled. Praise be isn't just polite, it stifles real feeling, real thought. And her internal struggle, wanting news but suspecting it, that shows the psychological toll of living with that kind of information control, that basic human need to connect, even through dodgy information.
So then she goes outside, and we hit the first proper physical barrier, this wooden crisscross thing, yellow and black stripes.
Like a warning sign.
Yeah, and the red stop sign, the unlit lanterns, and, of course, the guys with machine guns and pillboxes. Surveillance threat.
Yeah.
It's right there.
It's a really stark image, isn't it? A visual display of the regime's power, total control over movement, the colors, the sign, the guns. It's all meant to create fear, enforce obedience, instantly. And the unlit lanterns, the floodlights mentioned, it's like a constant reminder that things could get even worse. Surveillance could ramp up any second.
And she thinks about how even a tiny act of defiance, something undetectable, feels like a reward.
Yeah.
A tiny peephole of freedom.
Yeah.
And that thought she has, just for a second, about approaching the guard at night. Totally forbidden. It really shows that deep need for connection, even a dangerous one, in a world designed for total isolation.
Those little mental rebellions are crucial, aren't they? For psychological survival, it's refusing to be completely crushed, clinging to your own thoughts, desires.
Yeah.
And that forbidden thought about the guard, despite the risk. It highlights that basic human need and how hard the regime works to stamp it out, even the possibility of it.
Then we see who does get to pass the barrier. Commanders in black cars.
The wives in blue, daughters in white veils, going to, what are they called? Salvagings? Prevaganzas?
Yeah. And the Marthas in green, the birthmobiles, the handmaids in red.
And then those black vans. The winged eye, dark windows, men in sunglasses, super ominous.
It's like the whole caste system laid out visually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every color, every vehicle defining their role, their limits.
It is a really powerful, disturbing visual shorthand for the whole hierarchy, so clearly marked. And those black vans, the eyes, they just inject that constant sense of surveillance. The threat of punishment is always there.
She reflects then on walking in pairs, in red. And this weird upside. They're not subject to catcalls anymore, or unwanted touching from men.
Yeah, a strange kind of protection.
And then Aunt Lydia's twisted logic comes in. Freedom to and freedom from. The past was chaotic. Freedom to, she says. Now they have freedom from. And she warns them, don't underrate it.
Chilling.
It's such a deliberate perversion of what freedom means.
Oh, absolutely. That's core Gilead justification, isn't it? Paint the past as dangerous chaos, freedom to, so they can sell their own oppression as safety, freedom from.
Right.
And Aunt Lydia warning them not to underrate it. That shows how manipulative the whole rhetoric is, making the oppressed think they're somehow better off.
Then they get to the shop for the dresses, the habits, she calls them. Huge wooden sign, a golden lily, lilies of the field.
Almost ironic.
Totally. And underneath you could see where old lettering was painted out. Even shop names were too tempting. Now places are just known by these approved signs. It's systematic, isn't it? Stripping away language, identity.
Yeah, the renaming, the reliance on symbols. It's a very deliberate attempt to control language, which shapes thought, right? Remove the written word, replace it with these sanctioned images, and you control reality, restrict access to the past. Even calling the dresses habits suggests that forced conformity, no individual style allowed.
And then that encounter with the tourists. Wow. Wanting to take pictures.
So unsettling.
And the interpreters, they're probably an eye, you figure.
Almost certainly.
And the narrator just looks down, shakes her head. Modesty is invisibility, she thinks. And then Aunt Lydia's voice, almost shaking. To be seen is to be penetrated. What you must be, girls, is impenetrable. That fear of being seen, twisted into some kind of protection, it's messed up.
That scene just brutally shows the objectification, doesn't it? The handmaids are just curiosities, stripped of identity, valued only for their function.
Yeah.
And Aunt Lydia's line reveals that deep paranoia, the extreme control over women's visibility as a way to keep power. And using the word penetrated, it's so loaded, linking seeing with violation.
Next, there's this public display. Men in white coats, holding placards with pictures of fetuses. Executed doctors. Angel makers, they call them.
Yeah, from before. And the info probably came from informants, nurses, other doctors who won't always pardon themselves. It's this constant, brutal reminder of the regime's power. Zero tolerance for dissent. These public executions are terrifyingly effective, aren't they? Social control through fear. The placards that term angel makers. It's pure propaganda, demonizing past choices to justify present cruelty.
Right.
And mentioning informants just underscores that climate of suspicion, the constant threat of betrayal.
The narrator feels the woman next to her tremble, feels her own hands clench her basket. I won't give anything away, she thinks.
That fear.
And then Aunt Lydia's absolutely chilling line, ordinary is what you are used to. This may not seem ordinary to you now, but after a time it will. It will become ordinary. That normalization of horror. It's maybe the scariest part.
It perfectly captures how totalitarian regimes work, doesn't it? Gradually erode freedom, subject people to more and more oppression until the unacceptable just becomes normal, breaks down resistance.
Yeah.
And the narrator's fear of showing any emotion highlights that constant self-policing required just to survive, suppressing natural reactions.
So then we shift to nighttime. The narrator says night is her own time, quiet contemplation.
A small space of freedom.
Yeah. She even thinks about grammar lie versus lay and past male language. It's all just pure speculation now, she says. Even language itself feels lost, uncertain.
Those nighttime thoughts are her internal resistance, aren't they? Focusing on language, its nuances, how it used to be used. It highlights how much control they exert over communication and her yearning for a time when words felt free, authentic.
Then this memory hits her. Being separated from her child, fragmented, terrifying, roaring in confusion, her own screaming, "Where is she?"
Oh, God.
Flickering light, then just chairs, a bed, a window, and that calm, chilling voice. She's in good hands. With people who are fit, you are unfit.
Dehumanizing language.
But you want the best for her, don't you? And then seeing a picture of her child with some unknown woman, it just brutally shows the personal cost.
That memory is just raw trauma, isn't it? Laying bare the reality of family separation. Fit versus unfit. It's the state justifying his cruelty. And that final image, the child with a stranger, it's complete loss. Loss of connection, control, everything.
And then she speaks directly to, well, to us, the listener. I'm not in any immediate danger, I'll say to you. I'll pretend you can hear me.
So direct.
But it's no good because I know you can't. That direct address hits hard. The isolation, the desperate need to connect, even with someone imagined.
It's so powerful because it highlights that profound loneliness, that basic human need to tell your story, to bear witness, even if you think no one's listening. Storytelling as resistance, as a way to stay sane, avoid erasure.
Back outside, grim reality again. 3 new bodies on the wall. A priest ironically wearing a cassock they made him put on for the trial, even though he left the church years ago. And 2 others with purple placards. Gender treachery. Still in their guardian uniforms.
Gender treachery, an invented crime.
She wonders where they were caught. And the snowman with the red smile from before is gone now. It's just brutal, constant casual violence, targeting specific groups.
The wall is just this horrific public theater, isn't it? Showing the consequences of crossing Gilead. The different crimes, religious dissent, gender treachery, reveal what the regime fears, what it won't tolerate. Any deviation from the norm.
Right.
And the snowman being gone, maybe things are escalating or just shifting tactics. Either way, it's about intimidation.
Then these bereaved mothers walk past the wall, carrying little jars for babies who died young or boxes for older ones, stillbirths maybe.
A sad ritual.
The handmaids pause, showing respect, shared grief. But the econowives, the ones in the striped dresses, they react with scorn, scowling, spitting.
Wow.
That division, even among the oppressed.
Yeah.
It shows how Gilead keeps people apart, prevents solidarity.
It's a stark reminder of the complex, fractured dynamics, isn't it? Even victims of the system are turned against each other by the hierarchy. The econowives' resentment of the handmaids, maybe it's grief, frustration, maybe a warped view of the handmaid's forced role.
Back inside the house, Rita and Cora are arguing about who has to bathe the narrator, calling her this bird.
Dehumanizing, like a chore.
Yeah. She feels dismissed. Walks past the clock, the closed sitting room door with that colored light from the fan light. A brief moment in the light. It just emphasizes her reduced status, her lack of agency even at home.
That casual dismissal by Rita and Cora underscores her loss of identity, her reduction to just a function, treated like an object, even in supposedly intimate spaces. Personhood erased. And that moment in the colored light, maybe a tiny flash of beauty or an echo of her former self.
Then she thinks about past relationships, casual ones, trying people on like suits, she says. A knock at the door meant relief, desire, brief encounters, talking about possibilities, and then that line, "We thought we had such problems. How were we to know we were happy?" That reflection just highlights everything lost.
It's such a stark, painful contrast to her present, isn't it? The casualness, the freedom of the past underscore the loss of autonomy, real connection. And that question, it captures that universal thing, right? Only appreciating freedom, happiness when it's gone.
Back in her room, she sees stains on the mattress. Dried flower petals, she thinks. Maybe old love.
Ghosts of the past.
She covers the bed, lies down, and is hit by this wave of longing for Luke. Attacks of the past, like faintness, she calls them. Feeling helpless. What is to be done? And then she remembers why the glass is shatterproof, why the chandelier is gone. Those details constantly reinforce the despair, the reasons for the oppression.
The stains become this tangible link to a past where that room might have held love, affection. The longing for Luke, those attacks, it shows the emotional toll of the confinement, the separation, and the reminders about the glass, the chandelier. Grim, constant reminders of the fear of resistance from within or without.
Then we get a quick look at Serena Joy. Listening to the radio, volume super low, knitting endlessly, lost in memories of her past glory, probably.
Her own kind of prison.
The narrator notes the heat, the poor insulation, wants to just throw the window open. The summer dresses are unpacked cotton, she notes. And Aunt Lydia's inevitable warnings about sunburn, women's past spectacles, avoiding naming anything distasteful. That constant contrast, again, past freedom, present suffocation.
Serena Joy, retreating into nostalgia, really underscores the losses for all women in Gilead, even the ones seemingly in power. And Aunt Lydia's pronouncements about modesty, the dangers of the past. It's the regime's obsession with controlling women's bodies, erasing history, dictating thought.
Right.
And the narrator, noticing Aunt Lydia's inconsistencies, shows that spark of critical thinking resisting the ideology.
The medical exam sounds horrific, described so clinically.
Yeah.
A sheet hiding her face, the doctor just dealing with a torso.
Probably dehumanized.
The unnecessary small talk, the cold rubber-gloved finger. Its violation presented as routine.
It's a brutal example of their objectification, focusing only on the reproductive function. Zero regard for her as a person, her feelings, her dignity, reduced to a vessel.
And then she thinks about the tattoo on her ankle. 4 digits and an eye, a passport in reverse, she calls it, designed to stop her ever just fading away. I am a national resource. That realization, permanent identification, permanent loss of self, just a state asset.
That tattoo is such a powerful, permanent symbol of their lack of agency, their subjugation, literally branded as property. Identity reduced to a number, purpose defined by biology, an inescapable mark of captivity.
The evening routine is so regimented. Bath, leaving the dress for Cora, dressing again, white headdress off indoors, but the red veil goes on. She remembers seeing a film once, women kneeling, hair being cut off, punishment for something unknown.
Even in supposed privacy, their appearance, their movements are controlled, and that memory of the haircutting. A chilling reminder of potential public shaming, punishment, stripping away any identity left.
Cora brings supper. Knocks first a tiny bit of privacy the narrator appreciates. The meal is bland but functional. And Aunt Lydia's creepy remark echoes, "You must be a worthy vessel." No coffee, tea, alcohol, even the paper napkin feels symbolic. Disposable status. The whole routine just screams lack of choice, singular focus on reproduction.
Yeah, the meal rituals highlight the control over basic needs, simple pleasures, bland food, no stimulants. Reinforces the idea of them as just biological machines, no room for personal enjoyment, comfort.
Then she witnesses Janine being shamed for losing her pregnancy. The aunts are cruel, the other handmaids join in crybaby. She even remembers doing it herself in the past.
Awful. Complicity born of fear.
This time, Janine blames herself first. Accepts the guilt, and Aunt Lydia approves. Very good, Janine. That whole dynamic, collective punishment, internalized blame, it's deeply disturbing.
That scene shows the toxic, manipulative dynamics, doesn't it? Fear, desperate need for approval, weaponized by the ants, leads to this horrific internalized oppression. Janine blaming herself is a direct result of that manipulation. And the narrator's past participation shows how easily people become complicit, even turn on each other.
A tiny act of rebellion, though, whispering through a hole in the wall to Moira.
Contact. Hope.
Yeah, the relief. Share longing for cigarettes, something so simple. Then the narrator retreats inwards, her body like a swamp, watching for her period, failure if it comes. That secret communication, the intense focus on her body, the few remaining bits of agency, the power of connection.
That secret chat with Moira is a vital lifeline, isn't it? Reminder of past bonds, source of hope, potential resistance. And the focus on her body, the cycle, underscores how central reproduction is, the constant anxiety. But the communication itself is defiance against isolation and control.
Time for the ceremony. Descending the stairs at the bell, catches a glimpse in the mirror, a brief waif, the clock ticking loudly. Sitting room door open, she kneels near Serena Joy's chair, maybe for support. She remembers the room's old names: drawing room, living room, parlor, now just sitting room, official. Posture matters, discomfort is instructive. The room is subdued, symmetrical, one of the shapes money takes when it freezes, she thinks. The velvet, the rug, the commander's chair. Sterile, frozen wealth.
The ceremony is this meticulous, brutal ritual, and the space itself reinforces the power dynamics. Her diminished reflection, the clock, it underscores the dehumanizing, time-bound nature of her life. Renaming the room, posture, control down to the smallest detail. And frozen money, perfect capture of the cold, patriarchal order, warmth sacrificed for sterile control.
Serena Joy is channel surfing. Blocked station from Montreal, a preacher looking like a businessman, blank channels. Then the news.
Ah, the news.
The one good thing about ceremony nights, she says. Unspoken rule. Be on time for the news. She doubts its truthfulness, but watches anyway, trying to read between the lines. Report from the front, war everywhere, really? Angels of the apocalypse smoking out Baptist guerrillas. Black helicopters, sickly yellow hills. Controlled media, a glimpse of the wider conflict, the propaganda machine.
That tightly controlled information is classic totalitarianism, isn't it? The filtered news, likely manipulated, maybe faked, is still a rare window onto the wider conflict. Serves as propaganda, reinforces their narrative, demonizes enemies. But her skepticism, trying to read beneath it, that shows her resilient critical thinking resisting the ideology despite the biased info.
Then this memory surfaces. Saturday mornings in September. Having a car, something lost to so many now. And her own name, forbidden, kept like a secret treasure. An amulet. Floating behind her eyes at night, such a personal memory, a stark contrast to her nameless state now, underscores the importance of identity.
That memory of her name, the freedom tied to it, it really highlights the profound losses, doesn't it? Keeping her name secret is this powerful internal resistance. Preserving a core part of herself the regime can't totally erase. The enduring power of identity.
She observes the commander during the ceremony, everyone watching him. Considers his vulnerability. If he were to falter, what would become of us, despite his hard exterior? She warns herself, watch out, one false move and I'm dead. But then, surprisingly, still, it must be hell to be a man like that. That observation shows the complex power dynamics, even a flicker of empathy.
That careful observation reveals how precarious power can be, even for those seemingly in charge. She sees his vulnerability within the system, the constraints on him too, and that thought, it must be hell, suggests a more nuanced understanding. Oppression affects everyone, though very, very differently.
Then a secret meeting with Moira in the washroom. Moira's desperate. Going bad, she says, wants to escape. The narrator fears for her safety if she tries alone. Growing desperation, immense risks.
That clandestine meeting highlights the strength of their friendship, the shared unbearable desire for freedom. Moira's desperation shows the psychological pressure. The narrator's fear shows the bond and the real dangers of defiance.
During the ceremony itself, lying still, picturing the canopy, remembers advice from Queen Victoria, then dismisses it. But this is not England. Wishing the commander would hurry, darkly wonders if it's therapy. Feels Serena Joy's grip. His movements are detached, regular like a tap dripping, preoccupied, impatient rhythm. Cynical thought about the wet dream of two women, then asks herself, which of us is it worse for, her or me? The ceremony is sterile, dehumanizing, zero connection.
The ceremony is the absolute epitome of their objectification, isn't it? Ritualized act, stripped of personal connection, purely biological, state-dictated. Her detached observations, cynical thoughts, show her internal resistance, her alienation. And that question, who suffers more, underscores how the regime inflicts pain on everyone, though in brutally unequal ways.
Back in her room, small acts of rebellion, hiding butter in her shoe after dinner, saving tiny scraps, planning to clean it later.
Wow, tiny resistances.
Then suddenly, someone's behind her. Nick whispers, "Don't scream. It's all right." Realizes he's breaking rules, too. Mutual illicit presence, a touch, a kiss. What else comes from such denial, she thinks, shaking. The danger of this desire right there in Serena's house. They pull apart. Too risky, too much trust needed.
That secret encounter with Nick is significant defiance, isn't it? Reasserting human desire in a world suppressing it. The shared risk creates this intense bond. But it also highlights the extreme danger. Her conflict desire versus fear shows how precarious it all is, the high stakes of any personal connection.
She clings to the idea of a message from Luke. Might never arrive, but believing in it keeps her going. Imagines what it says. Patience, rescue, finding their daughter, love, reassurance it's not her fault. That imagined message is her lifeline.
That cherished, maybe illusory message from Luke is her vital coping mechanism, isn't it? A fragile thread of hope, connection to her past life, her love. The specific content she imagines, rescue, reunion, absolution, reflects her deepest longings, gives her purpose, however tenuous.
Waking from dreams. Sees the wreath on the ceiling, curtains like drowned white hair, feels drugged, wonders if it's all a paranoid delusion.
The psychological toll.
But then she actively grounds herself, asserts her sanity, knows where she is, who, the day. Sanity is a valuable possession now, hoarded like money. That struggle shows the regime's psychological warfare, the fight to hold on to reality.
Her struggle with reality reflects the insidious manipulation, doesn't it? The stress, lack of autonomy, violence. It erodes your sense of self. Her conscious effort to reaffirm sanity shows how vital mental resistance is for survival.
In the waiting room, anxiety hangs heavy. One woman praying or biting nails, another strangely calm. The siren wails sound of death, emergency. Still is, probably. Anxiety focuses on Avoron's birth. Baby or unbaby. That shared anxiety around childbirth highlights the fear, the uncertainty ruling their lives.
That tense waiting room captures the collective anxiety, the uncertainty, especially around childbirth, which is so crucial and dangerous there. The siren underscores the constant threat. And the fear of an unbaby reveals the regime's ruthless focus on reproductive success, the devastating consequences of failure.
Her thoughts turn inward. Body like a skeleton, full of hazards. Lists potential causes of infertility. Past pills, chemicals men sprayed, bad food chain, atomic plants, mutant syphilis.
All sorts of anxieties projected.
Followed by Aunt Lydia's condemnation of past contraception users. Jezebel's scorning God's gifts. It reveals the regime's simplistic, judgmental, unscientific view of reproduction. Blame assigned mostly to women.
That internal list shows the regime's distorted, inaccurate understanding of reproductive health, doesn't it? Instead of complexity, it's simplistic blame, especially on women's past choices. Aunt Lydia calling them Jezebels is pure fundamentalism, misogyny underpinning the whole system.
Then she watches a film. Title, names blacked out. But she sees her own mother young, in overalls, plaid shirt. Unwoman attire now.
Wow. A connection to the past.
Holding a banner. Take back the night, not blacked out. Other signs flash by about choice bodies. Her mother is smiling, laughing, fists raised, red balloons rise. The women watching breathe in together. A stir. Was it an oversight? Or deliberate? Reminding them of the old days of no safety, maybe. That glimpse of past activism. Powerful, dangerous.
That censored film is a rare, maybe subversive glimpse into the past Gilead wants erased. The fact that some feminist symbols are visible creates tension, suppression versus memory. The women's reaction, that intake of breath, suggests recognition, maybe resonance. Hence, the spirit isn't totally dead, raises that question. Mistake or calculated risk. Remind them of loss or what they were saved from.
She remembers her mother being outspoken, even with Luke, his teasing, her sharp replies. Mother called herself quaint, having paid my dues, and told the narrator, "You're just a backlash. History will absolve me." Paints a picture of a complex, fiercely independent mother.
That memory gives crucial context, doesn't it? Suggests Gilead wasn't random, but a reaction against earlier feminism, social change. The mother's defiance, her belief in history, offers a broader view of long-term resistance, unsettling continuity.
Overwhelmed by loss, the narrator feels this deep urge to have everything back as it was, then realizes the utter pointlessness of that wanting. The gap is too wide now.
That simple statement of longing captures the crushing weight of loss, the irreversible change. Realizing its futility underscores the tragedy, the harsh reality that the past is gone. Irretrievable.
The birthing room is sensory overload. Hot, noisy, bloodstained sheet, smells of flesh, sweat, iron, Janine's animalistic smell, Janine's distress. The narrator sweats too, false pains. Janine screams. Narrator remembers Janine's other child lost at the center, thinks about pain. Pain marks you, but too deep to see. Childbirth is raw, visceral, traumatic, not a miracle.
The birthing room scene, rendered with such visceral detail, strips away romantic notions, highlights the raw physical reality in Gilead. The sensory details emphasize shared suffering, how pain, physical and emotional, leaves deep, unseen scars.
Arriving home in the birthmobile, smells wet grass, exhausted, welcomes solitude. That quiet moment underscores the immense physical, emotional toll of their duties.
Returning home, embracing solitude, it highlights that profound exhaustion from the birthing ritual, a brief, needed respite before the cycle starts again.
She thinks about Janine's robotic responses, "May the Lord open," and Aunt Lydia's manipulative praise. Realizes Janine isn't broken, but like an abused puppy seeking any approval from her tormentors. That insight reveals the insidious psychological manipulation at Gilead's core.
That poignant reflection on Janine shows the damaging nature of the control methods. Break people down, offer crumbs of approval for compliance, creates dependence, internalized depression. Janine seeking praise after trauma is chilling proof of how effective it is.
Driven by this need to understand the commander, she knocks on his forbidden door. Steps inside. The study looks surprisingly normal. Desk, compute-talk, leather chair, plant, papers, rug, fireplace, unlit, sofa, TV. What is on the other side looks like normal life. This glimpse creates unease, questions the differences between rulers and ruled.
Describing the study as normal life is so revealing. Suggests the architects of Gilead keep the comforts, freedoms, technologies they deny everyone else. Exposes the hypocrisy, the self-serving nature of the regime. Ideology isn't applied to themselves.
She feels like she might cry. He frowns, puzzled, offers a chair, smiles formal, friendly, but distant. Then the request, "I'd like you to play a game of Scrabble with me."
So bizarre, out of nowhere.
Her reaction? Disbelief, urge to laugh or shriek. Remember Scrabble as a quaint game, her mother's set. This bizarre encounter marks a deeply unsettling turning point.
The Scrabble invocation is unsettling because it's so unexpected, so mundane in that context. Disrupts the power dynamic, hints at his strange desires. Her incredulous reaction highlights the absurdity, the unexpected ways control and connection manifest, even in darkness.
She wonders how he fits in this world with his word games and his desire. Desire to be played with, to be gently kissed as if I meant it. Realizes this desire could be important. A passport, or her downfall, the absurdity of it all, secret game lit by searchlights. She's grappling with his motives, the life-altering implications.
Her trying to figure him out reveals the complex, contradictory relationship. His desire for something beyond the purely functional connection, vulnerability, maybe subtly challenges the structure he upholds. Suggests even those in power have basic human needs their own system suppresses.
Then she recalls a disturbing story. A man who ate his mistress. Her mother explaining mistress. A photo. The mistress near a pool, by a house near a camp with ovens. The other woman in the photo claims she noticed nothing, knew nothing. A dark parallel to Gilead. Willful denial, complicity.
That deeply unsettling anecdote is a stark historical parallel, isn't it? Highlighting human capacity for denial, how easily people ignore horrific atrocities nearby. Raises uncomfortable questions about responsibility, looking away, how complicity gets normalized.
During the Scrabble games, he's patient. Lets her win first. Second game, he just watches her, then pulls out a little present. A women's magazine. Glossy model, fall fashions. She thought they were all destroyed. He smiles wistfully, like looking at an extinct animal. Forbidden gift creates strange intimacy, raises questions.
Those secret games become this clandestine rebellion, a subtle, perverse power play. The Forbidden Magazine, a relic, is a potent symbol of lost freedoms. His wistful smile suggests nostalgia, recognition of its value, even as he helps eradicate it.
She feels watched, turning the pages. Knows it's wrong, but feels naughty, not evil. Wonders what else he has, what's next. Asks why he kept it. Some of us retain an appreciation for the old things, he says. She reminds him of the searches, the bonfires, highlights the hypocrisy, inconsistencies in the regime.
This interaction blurs the lines of power further. Feeling naughty, not evil, underscores the arbitrary rules. His admission contradicts the official rejection of the past, reveals hidden desire for what's lost, suggests potential dissent, even among leaders.
She feels shy around him after the game, like she's actually being seen. Harsh lights feel exposing, like being on an operating table, a stage, aware of unshaved legs, armpits. Feels uncouth. Even sex now feels indecorous, improper. This shift shows the complex psychological impact of their encounters.
Engaging in these seemingly harmless activities shifts her perception of the relationship herself. Being seen as an individual beyond her function is validating but unsettling. Feeling impropriety about the very act that's her purpose shows how the regime warped natural interactions, created shame.
She realizes he no longer sees her as just a usable body, an empty vessel. To him, I am not merely empty, she thinks. A subtle but significant shift. Recognition, however limited, however strange.
That realization is a crucial turning point. Suggests their unconventional interactions fostered recognition beyond her role. Thinks at manipulation, perhaps, but also maybe a more complex, unsettling human connection beneath the surface.
Walking with Auckland. Warm human street. Sundress weather once. Baskets with strawberries. Fish. Notices shop signs. Loaves and fishes. Smiling fish sign, no loaves. Daily bread. Dried rolls. Loaves and fishes. Mostly closed. Sea fisheries defunct. Fish farms taste bad. Rumor. Coastal areas rested. Remembers past abundant seafood extinct, like whales, passes in silence, subtly underscores wider consequences, environmental, economic.
That ordinary walk reveals the contrast, presents scarcity, memories of past abundance. The shops, the rumors, highlight overlooked environmental, economic repercussions of Gilead's rise. The unsustainability. Silent rumor emphasizes fear, reluctance to discuss sensitive topics.
Suddenly they freeze. Fear. Microphones. Auckland hisses. Keep moving. Pretend not to see. Witness a brutal arrest. Ordinary man briefcase. 2 eyes, gray suits. Slam him against a black van. Violence. Throw him inside. Van speeds off. Narrator's reaction. Relief. Wasn't me. Random violence underscores constant fear, arbitrary power.
That sudden, brutal arrest is a visceral reminder of surveillance, unpredictable threat. Her immediate relief, "it wasn't me," perfectly captures the climate of fear, constant awareness of danger, even doing everyday things.
Sitting on the window seat. White nightgown. Breeze. Feels cocooned, ghost-like. Likes the soft cloth, like being in a cloud. Quiet, solitary moment of sensory comfort. Brief respite.
That small, private moment of quiet observation, simple sensory pleasure, provides a fleeting escape, reclaiming a small piece of personal space, finding comfort where it's denied, highlights importance of self-soothing, need for peace, even in dire straits.
Thinks back to having a job. Word seems funny now, like jobby. Remembers newspapers, never had a dog, only cats. Fragmented memories highlight loss of normal life, strange new meanings for old words.
Those fragmented memories underscore the profound changes, altering not just laws but meanings of ordinary words, emphasizes disconnect between lost past and stark present, how Gilead reshaped basic experience.
Recalls early signs of change. Luke's ambiguous smile, comment she can't place, failing phone system at work, leaving unpaid cigarettes, unanswered calls to the bank, her mother, worrying about daughter's school lunches. Small events, now ominous foreshadowing of lost rights.
Those seemingly insignificant details, seen now, build unease, foreshadow devastation. Failing phones, difficulty contacting loved ones, early signs of breakdown, severing connections once taken for granted.
Then Moira's call. Stark news. Women can't hold property anymore. It's a new law. Moira's reaction is unsettlingly gleeful. Suggests Luke use her CompuCount. Irreversible turning point. Shows different reactions to rights being stripped away.
Moira's almost nonchalant reaction is deeply unsettling. Maybe prior awareness or cynical acceptance. Starkly highlights varying ways people cope with loss of autonomy, the psychological impact.
She remembers the CompuCount. Her money. Taped to the fridge. Luke tries to comfort her, temporary. She feels her feet cut off. Can't cry, can't hug him. His, "it's only a job," shows a disconnect. Her bleak joke, "I guess you get all my money, and I'm not even dead," underscores loss of selfhood.
That scene captures the devastating impact on her sense of self, her relationship. His minimizing it highlights a disconnect. Her bleak joke underscores despair, feeling reduced to a financial transaction, even alive.
Flashbacks to her mother. Returning from marches, porn riots, abortion riots, images of bombings, clinics, video stores. Crucial context. Past conflict paving the way for Gilead.
Those flashbacks provide essential history, show past unrest, long-standing conflicts over sexuality, reproduction, women's rights. Suggest Gilead wasn't sudden, but culmination of social division, maybe violence, setting stage for suppressing freedoms.
Considers Nick's motives for helping the commander. Musings that everyone's on the take. Hard to prove anything against the commander. The power of knowing a secret. Complex web of relationships, subtle power dynamics.
Reflecting on Nick highlights the intricate, morally ambiguous web in Gilead's power structure. Everyone on the take suggests corruption, self-interest, difficulty challenging the commander, power of secrets. underscores delicate, dangerous balance in the household.
Then that phrase, "Nolite bastards carborundorum," Commander's reaction. Alert. What? She offers to spell write it. He hesitates. Maybe he forgot she can read right. Remembers his past joke about women and math. Cryptic phrase becomes unexpected connection point.
The Latin-esque phrase appearing is fascinating, almost subversive connection. His surprise, forgetting her literacy, underscores systemic suppression of female education. Cryptic phrase becomes small defiance, hint at shared, differently understood past.
Commander laughs, blushes. That's not real Latin, just a joke. She's bewildered, risking so much for a joke. His laughter seems nostalgic, maybe for his younger self. Gets an old textbook, shows her the page schoolboy joke in the margin. Revelation is anticlimactic but significant. Strips away weight, reveals shared connection to a less oppressive past.
Revealing the phrase as just a schoolboy joke is deeply ironic, maybe more poignant. Suggests small acts of rebellion, solidarity can have trivial origins but hold immense personal meaning. His nostalgic laughter reveals hidden connection to a past he suppresses, highlights contradictions, human complexities, even in architects of oppression.
She thinks about forgiveness. Temptation at the center wasn't physical needs. Knowing was a temptation. What you don't know won't tempt you. Wonders if she wants to know what's really happening. Fall from innocence to knowledge. Thinks of the missing chandelier using a hook to, all you'd have to do, lean your way forward. Recites bits of the Lord's Prayer. Hard to believe in kingdom, power, and glory. Ends with, in hope, as they say on the gravestones. Then addresses a higher power. Feeling ripped off, fed up, sick, alone. Wishing for an answer. Internal monologue reveals despair, struggle with faith, temptation of oblivion.
That intense monologue reveals profound psychological, spiritual crisis. Knowing was a temptation underscores deliberate information control, ignorance as control. Contemplating suicide highlights the unbearable situation, lack of agency. Fragmented prayer reflects eroded faith. Raw address to higher power shows depth of despair, yearning for meaning, hope in a world that feels empty.
After the ceremony, Serena Joy helps with the wreath, curtains. Seems helpful, but narrator senses it's about getting her out of the way. Unlikely it's kindness, Serena says flatly. Your time's running out. Narrator notices Serena's worsening hands lighting a cigarette, careful not to show she saw. Interaction thick with tension hints at Serena's strategic motives.
Serena's helpfulness is almost certainly self-interest, desire to control the situation, especially pregnancy. Time running out underscores her desperation, maybe hints at her own plan. Narrator noticing Serena's weakness, hiding it, reveals undercurrents of shifting power, silent awareness.
Then Serena's disturbing suggestion about getting pregnant. What other way? Suggests another man. Narrator refuses carefully, illegal, penalty. Serena's knowing reply. But it's done. Women do it frequently, all the time. Asks about doctors. Narrator remembers a kind one, ungloved hand, then a different one. Speculates what happened to the first. Suggestion reveals clandestine network, desperation for pregnancy, even among wives.
Serena's brazen suggestion exposes hypocrisy, desperate, illegal measures taken to ensure procreation, even by those upholding the rules. Narrator's refusal, Serena dismissing risks, highlights pervasive unspoken activities, regime's inability to fully control desire, survival. Memories of doctors underscore dangers outside strict control, consequences for dissent, compassion.
In the kitchen, Rita makes exaggerated movements, muttering about summer heat, no fires. Narrator remembers Corey usually lights fires. Later, narrator cautiously asks Rita about Serena's suggestion. Rita's blunt question. What does he want? Kinky sex. Narrator struggles to explain Scrabble. Vague, in a way, coercion. Rita's knowing comment.
You'd be surprised how many do.
Narrator feels powerless. I can't help it. I can't say I won't go, Moira's voice echoes. Find out and tell us. Exchange reveals informal info networks, cynical views on Commander's desires.
Exchange with Rita highlights informal communication, shared suspicion about Commander's lives. Rita's cynicism contrasts narrator's confusion about Commander's motives, like Scrabble. Moira's directive underscores importance of gathering info as vital, dangerous resistance.
Flashback. Desperate car escape with Luke. Her frantic prayer. Luke back quick. Dirt road, woods, jump out. Vague plan cottage, boat, foolproof passports. Narrator just focused on running. Admits resistance to telling the story, trauma. Considers withdrawing, bitter thought. No late te bastards carborundorum. Fat lot of good it did her. Memory ends with Commander dismissing love as better topic. Fragmented memory reveals failed escape, deep trauma.
That painful memory of failed escape shows sheer desperation, lack of coherent plan under pressure. Reluctance to tell underscores deep trauma, futility. Commander's manipulative deflection to love controls narrative, avoids harsh realities. Her past attempt to break free.
Scene shifts. Checkpoint. Impersonal voices, deferential. Commander shows passes, not narrator. She doesn't officially exist there. Stop again. Commander helps her out. Fast, he says. Back entrance. Leave cloak with Nick. On the hour, as usual. Chillingly suggests this isn't the first time. Journey to Jezebel's begins.
Furtive journey reveals Commander operating outside rules, narrator's precarious status officially unrecognized in illicit context. Instructions, as usual, comment to Nick, strongly suggest pre-existing arrangement, pattern of secret, dangerous outings.
Commander slips purple tag on her wrist. Evening rental. Steers her forward. Longs for mirror-checked lipstick. Feathers. Feels lurid. Hears Moira's internal condemnation. Idiot. Transformation marks descent into grotesque, degrading space.
Purple tag. Evening rental. Starkly objectify her. Commodity in illicit space. Longing for mirror reveals lingering desire for self-presentation even here. Moira's imagined condemnation underscores complex, critical relationships among oppressed, different ways of coping, resisting.
Corridor, flat gray door. Inside Jezebel's, Moira's cynical explanation. Commanders get a kick out of it, like screwing on the altar, like to see you painted up, cruddy power trip. Narrator finds it too simple for the commander, maybe vanity. Atmosphere, palpable, perverse indulgence, exploitation.
Moira's blunt explanation. Harsh but likely accurate take on Commander's motives, forbidden power, violating Gilead's own codes. Narrator hesitating suggests lingering hope for complexity, personal connection, even here.
Not much time. Tell me everything, narrator urges Moira. Moira recounts escape. Initial secrecy at center. People mistaking ants for nurses. Stopped asking questions. Led into house by woman, claimed questionnaire. Revealed identity inside. Family nervous but helped close. Burned outfit pass. Kids silent complicity. Story reveals hidden resistance network. Courageous ordinary people risking all.
Moira's escape account provides crucial narrative of resistance, highlights underground network-defying regime at great risk. Initial secrecy around Moira's disappearance suggests even enforcers knew it was controversial. Family's bravery underscores enduring compassion, solidarity against oppression.
Narrator sees commander slyly get room key from front desk. Ascend in glass elevator, feeling on display. Unlocks room, everything same as once upon a time. Dated decor. Gaudy drapes, bedspread, orange poppies, blue, thin curtains, impersonal furniture, lamps, generic pictures, fruit, apples, flowers. Bizarrely preserved relic of world Gilead supposedly eradicated.
Hotel room, preserved from before Gilead, is jarring, unsettling reminder of what's lost. Superficial, dated decor underscores regime's attempt to erase past, yet here it is, frozen. Highlights impossibility of truly erasing memory, history. Feeling on display in elevator emphasizes objectification, performative nature of encounter.
Narrator admits she thought Moira was dead. Moira's a chillingly pragmatic response. She might as well be. You should wish it for her. Narrator struggles to remember last time seeing Moira, trivial occasion, borrowing something. Realizes didn't know it was last time. Futile calls later as things worsened. Superintendent hadn't seen her. Starkly highlights sudden, irreversible loss of connection, casual cruelty of disappearances.
Exchange underscores fragility of relationships, sudden disappearances common in totalitarian regimes. Inability to recall last trivial encounter, now tragic, shows how present overshadows, erases past, leaves only loss, regret.
During another sexual encounter, internal scream, "Fake it! You must remember how!" Forces herself, bestir yourself, move your flesh around, breathe audibly. Brutally honest monologue reveals utter emotional detachment, purely performative intimacy in horrific context.
Narrator's stark internal monologue during sex lays bare profound emotional, psychological toll of regime's control over intimacy. Need to fake it underscores disconnect between physical act, genuine feeling, highlights deep trauma, alienation.
Heat at night, unbearable. Fan on, distant lightning, no thunder. Overcast, dull gray infrared. Notices searchlights off, unusual. Serena Joy's doing. Power failure. Uncharacteristic quiet creates unease, feeling of shift.
Oppressive heat, uncharacteristic silence create palpable foreboding, anticipation. Searchlights off hints at unseen machinations, potential disruption of fragile controlled order.
Top of stairs, knocks on Nick's door. Room stark, fold-out bed, maid. Kitchenette, bathroom door. Stripped down, military, minimal. No pictures plants. Gray U.S. blanket. Nick's greeting direct. Here, have a drag. Knows why she's there. To get knocked up. Takes puff, returns it, dizzy from smoke. Nick's gaze unsmiling, intense, feels stupid ugly. Feels stupid ugly. Annoyed caring. Practical approach.
Yeah.
Functional,
Yeah.
transactional, distant encounter.
Nick's Spartan room, direct manner reflect pragmatic, detached nature of interactions, driven by desperate goal of pregnancy. Lack of personal touches suggests temporary, precarious existence, instability even for those with some authority.
I don't have much time, she says awkwardly. Nick's blunt response, I could just squirt it into a bottle. No smile. She protests. There's no need to be brutal. Considers his feelings of being used. I know it's hard for you. His shrug. I get paid. Punk surliness. No move. Internal rhyme. I get paid. You get laid. Grim determination. We're going to be tough. Exchange brutally reveals raw, transactional nature, emotional chasm.
Stark exchange lays bare dehumanization. Nick's blunt suggestion, cynical, I get paid, underscore transactional nature, consequence of brutal control over reproduction. Narrator's fleeting empathy, hardening resolve, reveal complex emotions and struggle for survival, control.
Yet, willing to wear anything he wants, we make love each time as if there will never be any more. Each time a surprise, gift, feels safe with him, a cave. Knows its delusion, dangerous place. Questions trust, foolhardy. Internal conflict reflects complex, risky relationship, desperate necessity, maybe more.
Willingness to comply, awareness of precariousness, highlights complex emotional landscape. Paradoxical safety in dangerous place underscores pull of connection, intimacy in world suppressing it. Questioning trust reveals inherent risks, uncertainty.
Former Ofglen suggested rebellion. Go into Commander's room, search desk, get key. Needed to know who he was. But Commander, not immediate interest now, hides indifference. Nick's instruction. Keep doing everything exactly the same, otherwise they'll know.
Watch.
Watching kiss.
Yeah.
Promise, don't slip up. Warning underscores constant surveillance, deadly consequences of deviation.
Nick's warning reinforces suffocating reality of surveillance, catastrophic consequences of unusual actions. Previous Ofglen's desire for secrets highlights human need for knowledge. Narrator's growing indifference to Commander shows shift in priorities, awareness of more immediate threats.
Aunt Lydia announces salvaging's conclusion. Pause creates anticipation. Handmaids form circle. Wives' daughters watch. Narrator push forward. Condemned man. And it. Ofglen beside her, face tight. Narrator shocked. Why did you do that? You, I thought. Ofglen's sharp warning. Don't look, they're watching. Explanation. Man was political, one of ours. Knocked him out to end misery. Don't you know what they're doing? Victim was a guardian. Impossible. Horrifying turn. Brutal mercy. Hidden resistance.
Salvaging culminates in shocking, morally ambiguous violence. Ofglen's act, ostensibly mercy, reveals horrific punishments, desperate resistance measures. Narrator's shock gives way to understanding brutal choices. Victim being guardian shatters illusion of unified regime, suggests fissures, hidden sympathies.
Aunt Lydia's whistle ignored. Guardians pull handmaids off body. Some fainted, dazed. Instruction. Reform lines. Janine approaches. Blood-smeared, bright smile, eyes loose. Hi there, how you doing? Holds clump of blonde hair. Giggles. Gruesome scene reveals profound psychological damage from public violence.
Chaotic aftermath reveals deep psychological trauma from brutal violence. Janine's detached, cheerful demeanor, macabre souvenir. Chilling manifestation of potential mental breakdown under extreme pressure.
Narrator cautiously says yes to new Ofglen. No verbal response, but flicker suggests she looked. Long, silent walk back. Narrator decides to wait, observe, listen. Alertness returns now, old Ofglen gone. Body senses danger again. Need to know, but caution needed. Wait till past checkpoint. Replacement signals shift in resistance network, return to vigilance.
New Ofglen marks significant, dangerous shift. Narrator's caution, renewed focus, underscore need for vigilance, strategic thinking. Return of heightened senses indicates renewed commitment to resistance, awareness of perilous environment.
Suddenly, Serena Joy's surprised voice. What has she done? Serena didn't call them. Planned something private. Eyes refuse explanation. Can't say it, ma'am. Commander demands warrant. Narrator's mind races. Scream. Cling. Relinquish dignity. If real, they'll stay. Eyes reply firmly. Not that we need one, sir. Violation of state secrets. Abrupt arrest. Vague charge. Intense, terrifying suspense.
Sudden arrest, vague charge. Dramatic, terrifying turning point. Surprise of Serena, Commander suggests unforeseen event, highlights I's pervasive autonomous power. Narrator's internal struggle reflects utter powerlessness and moment of ultimate state control.
Finally, the historical notes. Professor Piasotto, 12th Symposium, frames text as The Handmaid's Tale, transcribed from cassettes, addresses lack of evidence, dangers of oral testimony, fragmented subjective nature, speculation on identity, time, location, theory, house a safe house, underground female road, tapes may be moved later. Attempts to trace descendants fail. Acknowledges gaps, uncertainties, discusses Nick's motives. own jeopardy, penalties, Gilead's nature, possibility he assassinated her, human heart, pregnancy, called rescue team of eyes, maybe not real, his downfall. Concludes with ambiguities, call for questions. Notes provide critical lens, raises questions of authenticity, reliability, interpretation.
Historical notes provide crucial meta-narrative, reminds us it's subjective account, not objective record. PSO's analysis introduces critical distance, challenges of interpretation, limits of testimony, unknowable motivations, lingering uncertainties about narrators, Nick, outcome, underscore ambiguous nature of resistance, mysteries of past.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into these chilling excerpts, we're left with this incredibly vivid, profoundly unsettling picture. A world defined by systematic loss of freedom, identity, bodily autonomy, constant surveillance, threat of brutal punishment the norm.
Yeah.
We saw stark hierarchies, manipulation of language, history for control. And yet, even in the darkness, those flickers of subtle resistance, the enduring strength of the human spirit.
This focused exploration forces us to confront uncomfortable questions, doesn't it? About power, the creep of control, the value of individual agency against tyranny. The narrative, fragmented as it is a potent, disturbing reminder of how fragile our own rights are. The importance of vigilance.
And on that,
yeah,
sobering but incredibly important note, I want you to consider this. Looking around our own seemingly ordinary world, what aspects, what mundane things, if taken to their absolute extreme, might just pave a path towards a reality like this one? It's a deeply unsettling thought, I know, but maybe one worth holding on to. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.